Enlightenment is really just the start. See, as we are seeking for truth, we tend to build up this concept in the mind that, oh, when I achieve enlightenment, when I achieve self-realization, then it'll be over. Then it'll be over. Then everything's going to be different for me. And there's this me that's trying to achieve it and sees it as something to achieve, as if it's, this epitome of being on the top of the mountain, staking a flag in. I've reached the top. It may feel like that. It definitely felt like that for me for like a split second, and then it was like it just kept on going though. And then as it's continuing, there's this realization, a deepening that, whoa, that wasn't the end. That now feels like the beginning. It's the beginning of something entirely new. Self-realization, enlightenment's like a very fancy word for realizing your limitless nature. It's realizing your non-local, empty yet full, borderless, boundless, ever-present, timeless nature. And it's that realization that dawns, that light that dawns, that is actually not the end. It's like living in darkness for your entire life, and just now at that point, it's the end of darkness, but it's now like the start of light. It's a new beginning of something new. So yes, it does kind of have that feeling like it's very much when that it was experienced that this is the end. This is the end. I've made it. Right after you say that, who's the I? It's not there. But there's now a continuation. There was also this sense of, and it's still there. It's just continuing to go. It's continuing this sense of profound completeness, fulfillment. This is what you're looking for. But now it's like living with that completeness, living as that completeness, the embodiment of the enlightenment, the embodiment of truth itself. Living as that unity in duality. It's really hard to talk about this because it's so paradoxical. But it definitely feels like it's the start. Whereas for any seeker, it sees it as like the goal, like the end. I'm here and I just got to get there. But the reality is enlightenment is always here. It's not there. It's not something in the future. It's now. It's right now. That's why it's a realization. You're just realizing. You're realizing it here and now, which means it's always been here and now. You're just realizing it. A realization is kind of like, oh my God, such an idiot. How did I not see it? And when the realization dawns, when that realization occurs, there's this kind of like, what a joke. How did I not see this? I got to use the language like, how did I not see this? But it's at the time, you're not really saying, how did I not see this? It's just this kind of, because it's the universe realizing itself. That's God realizing itself. It's awareness realizing itself. There's no separate self that's realizing. There's no separate self that's realizing, that's a coffee mug. It's the realization of this separate self. Oh, I'm a hand. Right? It's not, there's not the other. There's not the other. Right? Like the eyeball that's realizing it's an eyeball. That's what makes it so difficult. Because the eye sees everything but the eye. But the eye itself. Right? So the one who's aware of everything, find that one. What is that? What is that is always here and now, always aware? What is aware of the body, aware of the feelings, aware of the mind, aware of perceiving itself? What is aware of being aware? Find that. And when I say find that, I'm not saying find that like you as the person finding that. I'm speaking to awareness itself. I'm speaking to the one, the awareness that seems to turn on itself, to turn around. The awareness that's aware of everything else in front of it, but it's not aware of itself. Now it is when that turning happens. That's the self-inquiry that makes that happen. That's through the transmission that slows down the mind, all the experiences that are popping up. Then there's just that awareness. Without the mind activity, without the feeling that there's even a body, there's just this, just is, you can't even put a name on it. We're just calling it awareness, but it's really nameless. It's formless. It's here. It's here right now. It's what's actually listening to these words. It's also what's speaking the words. It's awareness. That's everything that's modulating itself to have this experience of duality, to experience itself, you could say. So then it's kind of coming back to that duality, but you're not fooled by the duality anymore, in the same sense that if I showed you a magic trick and I fooled you once, twice, 3 times, but then I showed you on the 4th time and said, all right, enough is enough. Let me show you actually how the trick is performed. On the 4th time, I show you and I reveal the illusion. And while I reveal the illusion, you realize how the trick is done. And as soon as you realize how the trick is done, you're not fooled by the trick anymore. So then on the 5th time, I show you the trick, but there's this knowing. There's this knowing of the truth of how the trick is. And it's not like it's fooling you anymore. There's no illusion anymore. The illusion is gone. But the trick is still there. There's still the presentation of the trick. So now there's this kind of experiencing that's happening, seen through that illusion. There's no more illusion. The illusion is gone. The darkness is gone because now there's the light. The illusion is gone. The lies are gone because there's the truth. But it still continues to happen. And that's what I mean, is that's what it feels like like I'm saying, is that's the beginning. That's the beginning. It's like something new. So that's what I just kind of wanted to talk about today, is how enlightenment now, I shouldn't say now, how enlightenment can be seen as just the beginning. And maybe that'll help kind of remove this kind of striving for the goal. Because as long as there's that striving, it always seems to kind of like push that goalpost a little further. Because enlightenment is actually effortless. So it's when that striving starts to kind of still, the activity starts to still, then it can be realized. Right? It's the no effort, but no, not non-effort either. It's just, it's difficult. It's difficult to explain. There's no words that can really just explain it. But just wanted to share with you about that, which might kind of change how you're looking at it, of this final destination. Hearing someone say, oh, it's just the beginning. Now, what does that do? What does that do to that belief that it's the final destination? Look for yourself.